Viewers, there has been a startling turn of events that need to be reported and put on record. Special Public Prosecutor Amit Prasad made a 4-hour-long case before a Delhi court in order to substantiate that the Delhi riots were pre-planned. It was a conspiracy to spill blood, and he cited witness testimonies recorded before magistrates to bolster the claim that some of the accused were in fact guilty of plotting mayhem in Delhi. In fact, a certain number of statements have been relied upon that the witnesses have testified to, viewers, and said that certain individuals had made these statements. Like, for example, Umar Khalid had said that time for bhashan is over, the time to spill blood is here. There were others in WhatsApp messages in certain groups that were talking about collecting all sorts of inflammatory material to begin arson. They were collecting chili powders, acid, stones, sticks to hurl, throw, use as weapons. Viewers, this entire disclosure is taking place when the courts at different times have pulled up the Delhi police for not being able to substantiate their case against some of the accused in the Delhi riots case. And that's why perhaps the police has now decided that it's going to tell the court on what basis it is making these claims and erecting a case. And I want to open this up. Sanju Verma, the BJP says that this is now conclusive evidence to suggest that the Delhi riots were pre-planned, that this was not some Islamophobic selective targeting of one particular community, but it was quite the converse. Can you substantiate this charge in the face of the courts at different times pulling up the prosecution for not being able to prove its case? Why should we today believe the BJP, believe the prosecutors?
You know, Rahul.
Ma'am, I think you put yourself on mute.
No,
yeah,
I have
now
not.
we can hear you. Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
Rahul,
yeah.
I have been tweeting about this, and I have also spoken about this at various platforms, including on your channel. And I'll just reinforce what I said today morning. It is clear from the court proceedings that the entire Shaheen Bagh episode was premeditated, orchestrated, and exceedingly well planned to the T. You know, I will just quote what Amit Prasad, the SP, placed before the Honorable Delhi High Court. He clearly mentioned that Umar Khalid, Sharjeel Imam, Safura Zargar, Devendra Kalita, and a whole host of others, including the likes of Tahir Hussain and Khalid Saifi, were part of two WhatsApp groups, the Jamia Coordination Committee and the Delhi Protester Support Group, DPSG, where they just 1 minute, where they said, ये सरकार मुसलमानों के खिलाफ है, सिर्फ बातों से काम नहीं चलेगा, खून बहाना पड़ेगा, डंडे, पत्थर, तेजाब, जो इकट्ठा कर सकते हो, इकट्ठा करो. It was an unequivocal call to instigate, provoke, and cause disaffection towards the Indian state. So I think those who were saying that Umar Khalid ko bichara एक PhD scholar है, सफूरा जरगार बेचारी एक प्रेग्नेंट औरत है, ताहिर हुसैन तो बेचारा आम आदमी पार्टी का मेंबर है. I think today the block has been called.
Let me bring
and the BJP
Let me bring it. These are accusations based on witness statements submitted by the police. The court hasn't come out and pronounced a verdict. That must be remembered and kept in mind. Mujibur Rahman, advocate for Salim Khan, one of the accused in the Delhi riots. Mr. Rahman, many people would say today that because of these watertight statements that have been made in front of a magistrate, the case is equally watertight against some of your clients or others who are accused?
No, I will not say this because what a prosecution has done, it's based on generally assumptions and presumptions only. Prosecution has failed to present any substantial evidence, any of the accused, even it's about Muhammad Salim Khan or whoever is involved in the case. Police has failed to produce any single evidence. Just their basis on the
let him finish, madam. Let him finish,
even
please.
In the chats,
Let
even in the chats, they did not. No one talk about the nation, about the rights. No. Everybody was concerned about the protest.
Okay,
and,
so
they were planning for the protest, and protest is the right.
Mr. Rahman, there are 1 second, madam, please. There are WhatsApp conversations of the DPSG group. There's a gentleman called Owais Sultan who has made very incendiary statements, and these are recovered and they've been submitted. These are the text messages, the chats of this DPSG group. There are, of course, witness statements, recorded under Section 164. So there is evidence. You can't just say that there is no evidence.
What Owais Sultan has said, he said, don't block the roads. That's it. He was against
not
blocking
really.
roads.
If you really read...
Blocking roads is Chakka Jam. Blocking roads is Chakka Jam, which BJP party has done on 3rd of Feb 2022.
May I please come in, Rahul?
Even, no, this is, if you say that Chakka Jam is the violence, Chakka Jam is rights, no, Chakka Jam is a part of protest, and every political party has done it and will do in this country.
The material on record seems to suggest incitement. Let me bring in Dr. Ranganathan. Okay, 1 second. Ma'am, you've stated your point. But
somebody was lying on your channel.
No, I have taken note of that, and I've talked about the WhatsApps, etc. Now we can all differ on the interpretations. Now 1 minute. Dr. Ranganathan, come in on this, because there has been this talk that this was some sort of a pogrom against one community. There was rampant Hindu phobia. There was a normalization of Islamophobia. How do you now react to this? Even though it's early days, there's no verdict.
No, absolutely, Rahul. We await the final closure, and that can only happen through the hands of the judiciary. But all these revelations are damning. And if you were to add, if you remember, you might have to go a year before, this charge sheet revelations or testimony of Tahir Hussain in his own words. And such a grisly picture they painted, especially when he disclosed that his mobs were chanting, quote, "Kafiron ko maro." Look, as for the genesis of these riots, doubtless there was verbal provocation from both sides. To put that as a reason that left 53 dead and 200 injured is ridiculous propaganda. It wasn't Kapil Mishra or Waris Pathan or Harsh Mandar, the men responsible for these riots, but people like Tahir Hussain and Farooqi. 1,300 people were arrested, and they included roughly equal number of Hindus and Muslims. Both Hindus and Muslims took part, and both Hindus and Muslims lost their lives. And yet, there are those, as you say, who believe that Hindus weren't victims at all, that Ratan Lal wasn't stoned and shot, that Dilbar wasn't hacked and burnt alive, that Vinod wasn't lynched because his bike sported a Jai Shri Ram sticker, that temples weren't attacked and desecrated, that Arun Public School wasn't burnt to the ground, that Rahul Thakur wasn't shot to death, that acid and stones and petrol bombs weren't thrown from Tahir Hussein's roof, that Santosh didn't throw her 2 grandchildren from the window of her house that was set on fire, that Hindu Dalits...
So there have been a lot of omissions.
And beaten by a bloodthirsty Muslim mob.
There have been a lot of omissions. That's what Dr. Ranganathan is saying. Now, viewers, we heard the term Hindu Gardi earlier. What would you call this? Some people would ask. And why is it not being called out for what it is? I just want to leave you with 3 lines from a WhatsApp. This is Anas Tanveer, whose WhatsApp says, "I'm very disturbed with the development that has taken place since yesterday, and to me it seems like a concerted plan. So I really need to know whether this group is ready to identify and condemn organization and individuals who instigated this violence." Because this is a message going out to people on the group, fellow protesters. Quite clearly, someone there thought that things had gone too far. I leave it at this, viewers. I don't want to stand in judgment. That the court will do. We've just brought out certain facts and a twist in this particular case.